We're going to send a big shout out to all my traveling workers, all the truck drivers, all the police, all the nurses, all the railroad, all your airplanes, all of them people. Hey, man, wherever you find yourself today out here in your travels, trying to get this money, take a minute to holler at us and come hang with us for a little bit and get your mind on something that you want to think about. It is I, Jay Sims and Lion, here another Saturday with none other than Doc. Doc, what's going on, big brother?
Man, what's happening, bro, man? I'm glad to be here as always, man. Love this, bro. Love it.
Hey, man, we here, man. This that Saturday, Book of Man. We here to talk about whatever, we want to talk about, important little things that we find interesting at the very least.
Yeah. I'm laughing, boy, because I tell you what, we got to stack one today.
Yeah, it's a little loaded up today, man. We're gonna bring them in. Let's bring them in. We're gonna talk about first, Doc.
Okay, man. First subject, very important. A lot of people talked about it over the past few weeks. But this is the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas. Mm-hmm. I got a friend who teaches down in San Antonio, and she was like, that's like 45 minutes from where I am. I mean, that's close to home. Right. The arguments like, how could they have stopped it? How could they have avoided it? Who's at fault? All of that. Right. And the more I looked at it and dug into it, and I thought about a show that we did in the beginning, probably about, oh man, we done been on since what?
Been a minute.
Yeah, been a minute. But one of the first shows we did, we talked about the fathers in the schools, man. So let's talk about that. And what I say is, and I didn't even prepare a banner for this, but I'm gonna put it up there now. How can we help our community be safer? Here we go. Bam.
Okay.
Be in there.
Now, I think there's a lot of things we can do to help our community be safer. But when you talk about in terms of the school shooting, this is a very hard thing to control, because as a parent, I know to a certain degree, when I get ready to come up to the school, I'm like, man, we gotta go through all these loops just to get into school and just to get the child. I feel like I'm here for 30 minutes to execute something that should have took 5. But when you look at something like this shooting, you say to yourself, maybe they don't have enough things in place. Man,
you know what? All right, this is from, and I'm not saying it was like this in that place, but being a teacher and being in there, there's a couple things. One, it's hard to get into a school, at least in my district.
It's hard to get into a school through the front door.
No, I'm getting to that part. Hold on, I'm getting to that part. And even in our district, they made it easier for teachers to get in and out, but harder for other people to get in. So it got to be user error. Because what we have is these little scan badges. So every door in the school got a lock on it. You scan your badge, you can get in. Now, before they implemented that back in the day, no lie, because I didn't did it before. What teachers would do if they had to go in, they'd put a little rock in the door or something, go to their car, whatever, and come right back in, because the doors would lock automatically.
Right.
But in this case, what they're saying is that the door didn't close all the way. It didn't lock. So if that is the case, then it's nobody's fault. That's just it was a fluke.
Well,
but we don't know what happened.
If a person is determined to get into a school, as far as like the front door, well, most schools I've ever gone to, the front door is glass.
But it's thick. Yeah.
Man, well, it's AR-15 proof, but
hey.
It's kind of weird to me that we continuously have school shootings. It's odd to me that is a repetitive target for individuals, especially in this case when it wasn't even his school.
Nope.
Like, it just seems like a weird thing to me that a teenage kid would choose to shoot up elementary school, because most teenagers that I've ever met or spoke with have they respect smaller kids, because that was just them.
Yeah, they love them.
At least enough where they're like, that little kid ain't did nothing to me.
They turn into nurturers. When you get even the worst kids, you throw them in a kindergarten class, oh, they soften up immediately. They read to the kids.
Yeah.
The kids who doing the wrong thing will tell the little kids to do the right thing.
Yeah.
I've seen it over the
Right.
years.
Every time. So it's odd to me that an 18-year-old would walk into an elementary school. Now, if you ever told me he walked into his high school, I'd have been like, well, maybe the people that was picking on him or whatever were at the school. But we know no elementary school kids was picking on a high school kid.
No.
So why he chose elementary school just seems extremely odd to me.
You know what I think? I think that this is a sign of bigger problems.
Correct.
And that we are not addressing the bigger problems. Gun control, do I believe that should happen? Like, yeah, you shouldn't be able to get an assault rifle like right then. I shouldn't be able to go to the store and walk home with one.
Well, you can't go to the store, but you can go to the gun show.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you shouldn't be able to do it like that. Or they should have, I mean, even in gun shows now, when we, got our firearm for protection, we had to go, they have like this database and they have to go into it and do all this stuff. And I mean, and I'm cool with that. But maybe it should be like an age limit on it or something. Like, assault rifles, you need to be 20.
I think it's 25 to get a conceal and carry.
Mm-hmm. But the bigger issue, though, aside from guns, and this is the thing, they say it, but no one addresses it. Who is helping these boys? When they want to help them is after they've done something like this. But there is nothing out there to help boys when they are going through in the beginning. They're virtually nothing. Like for just boys.
Oh no.
Nothing.
There's groups for everybody, and there's groups for women, and there's group for LGBTQ. But just regular dudes, regular young men, teenage boys going through something. If you don't have somebody in your personal life, you're in trouble.
And here's the sad part, man. And this is what I see. They don't have anybody to talk to.
Right.
Because one, if you talk to most of the teachers are female. Correct. Most of them are. Even they say you see more male teachers in the high schools, but even then it's not very many.
Right.
And if there is a few, even the custodians, you might have 5 out of a staff of like 50. So you got 5 dudes looking after the population of the whole school.
Right.
And it's just impossible. So what I'm saying, though, is that there's nothing there to head this off for it start. Even if they getting bad information, like a lot of this stuff, even the Buffalo shooting was connected to what Tucker Carlson was talking about on Fox News.
Right.
Saying that their race is being replaced and all of that stuff. And there's nobody for them to talk to, just to bounce those ideas off of, and somebody to say, man, look, that ain't the way to go.
Well, I mean, it ain't about the race being replaced. It's just genetics, man. Nobody out here actively trying to replace the race. We just living, and y'all just happen to have the recessive genes.
Exactly.
Luck of the draw, shit. I don't know what to say. But as far as the case of what we can do as individuals, as men, for men, black men especially, continue to and be more involved in what's going on with your children. I used to do private security from time to time, and it was good. It was good business to always have an oversized individual with you, because it's something about a 6'5", 250 pound man give people some pause.
Yeah,
when they're thinking about doing something, or when something first breaking out, something about a dude that size, and then people say, you know what, I don't know if I want that problem.
They don't even want to mess with it.
Right. So whether or not they think they can win is like, all he got to do is catch me once, and I'm out of here.
Yeah. That's it.
I might be a better fighter than him, but if he catch me one time, it's over with.
It's over with, boy. You got the birds around your forehead at that
over
point.
With you're in the ground somewhere. You got to catch me one. So I take the same approach. I think just more men being around, especially not in the case of black men, just being around, being available. People know you're coming. People know you're looking. It tends to slow. It's like a deterrent. It's like having an ADT sign in your yard. The sign not doing nothing, but if it stopped one criminal instead of 5.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Exactly. Or those fake cameras. You know, most of them security cameras around be fake.
Yeah. but it is enough to give some people to say, you know what? Nah, not this time.
And that's why they do it. That's why they do it.
And there's nothing is there anything you can do to stop a determined madman with a gun?
Yeah.
Not really. Other than have your own gun. Do I think it's as simple as, oh, these are one-off madmen with guns? No.
No, because how many of them prepared and didn't go through with it or come close?
Because the 18-year-old thinking about buying AR-15s is not a long list.
Oh, no. Exactly. I mean, it's trendy to have them these days. Right. So here's the question.
And a whole lot of people can go, 18-year-olds can go buy a damn several $1,000 AR-15. So he got it from somewhere.
Exactly. And the ammo to go with it.
Right.
I mean, you know, some conspiracy theories out there, but I ain't even going to jump into that. But here's my question. Because this is what's being thrown around. Should they arm teachers?
No.
I agree.
No.
Why do you say that?
It's police officers. Been through the academy and through training. Ain't worth a damn with their weapon. Mm-hmm. What kind of training? You're going to have a full arms training in the summertime where you take up the whole 8 weeks of the teacher's summer to really train them with a firearm? You know how much training that requires to be safe and responsible enough to have a firearm and defend other people's children and protocol? Now, come on, man. That's an insurance nightmare, first and foremost. Secondly, the first time a child gets a hold of a weapon, we got another problem. The first time a teacher uses a weapon on a child because whatever emotional thing, or a child try to attack her, which happens especially in high school age, children will try to attack a teacher. And we've seen with police officers, what's their number one line? I was in fear for my safety.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Number one line, I was in danger. I was in danger. I felt my life was in danger. Nah, bro. You don't get to just feel your life is in danger and shoot up somebody's kids.
But
so I think arming the teachers is just a horrible, that's a non-starter.
You know, there's other aspects to that too. I mean, as a teacher, I'm against it. Yeah. I don't think teachers should be armed. Well, all right. There's specifics to it. Now, in general, do I think teachers should be armed? No, because they're not considering the teachers, because it's difficult to switch gears from being a nurturing person to having to kill somebody. And a lot of these teachers, they're not stable. They're not stable. Look, they have fits because they have to go to a meeting when they're supposed to be planning. I'm telling you, a lot of teachers don't have that. Some of them do. Now, here's the solution. This is what I think. I think that sometimes they should be armed personnel at the school, which now here's the big thing. This is what I noticed in our state. Middle schools and high schools have security officers there. Campus police are there. They're armed. Elementary school, you don't really see that.
Nope.
So that's one thing. So they got to spread that out, get more people to do that. But in terms of armed teachers, I think that it should be a volunteer basis, and they need to pass. Well, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. They need to pass. They have to volunteer and say, hey, I want to do this. Then you got to pass a strenuous testing in order to be accepted. Now, and this is one thing I know, there are a lot of veterans that are teachers. Mm-hmm. A lot of veterans that have been in combat. I got a lot of friends that's done that. There are teachers. Those people, okay, because they've been in combat. They've been trained to handle weapons, all of that.
So you're saying it has to be some kind of qualification a teacher should have to read?
Yes, steep qualifications.
Right, let me ask you this, Doc. What's the situation where you add more guns that gets less violent?
None.
I'm yet to see one.
None.
Anywhere in the world. Now I've seen the reverse work. I've seen guns be taken away, and it gets less violent. But I've never seen a situation where we add guns to it, and it gets less violent.
I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you, man.
But whether it's for defensive purposes or not,
I'll say
putting more
deterrent.
guns in the school. Putting more guns in the school will give more people access to guns in school.
Well,
How much stuff do you think has been stolen from the school?
I had the same line of questioning in the beginning. And again, if you go back to only people that are trained and have experience with this, most people like that, like veterans, things like that, they know how to secure their weapons. They know how to secure it. They know how to keep it safe. Even they have those holsters where you have to have a finger lock in it so they just can't yank it out.
Right.
And then I also think that it needs to be a limit. Like you can't be at the school and 20 people got guns at school.
Right.
Nah, that's too much. But maybe
you're
less.
saying maybe a select few volunteers with qualifications
Yes.
have an opportunity to get weapons.
Yes. Like for example, and this is not with weapons, but in terms of student restraint and crisis communication. So I was the instructor for that. I trained people how to do that. So like when it came down to people can put their hands on kids, that was me. I could fold your kid up, do whatever I had to do, and I wouldn't get in trouble for it. But I was trained on how to do it. Right. And even with that, I had a team with like 5 people on it. That's it. That is it. It was really small. And I got to hand pick who I wanted to do it. And I think some of the same things could happen. But also, I think that we should tap into our veteran resources. Not even the ones that's teachers, but even some of the other dudes, man, that that's not doing it. You know, a lot of veterans down on their luck. They good people, but they can't get nothing. You know, have some of them on the outside.
Okay.
They ain't got to be armed, but just presence.
Okay, well, let's go the other way with that. Veterans are also a large part of our mental health, mental illness population. So do you think in adding more people with a higher probability, not saying all veterans have mental issues, but the people adding more people with a higher probability of having a mental issue is a good formula? More guns and more possible mental issues in the same place.
Well,
does that sound like a healthy formula?
Well, all right, but here's the thing though. Even to be a teacher, you have to go past a lot of stuff.
Correct.
And if they had those people to come in and do that, they need to go through at least the same amount of stuff teachers have to go through.
So what you're saying is you believe we can build a vetting process that will eliminate that at an acceptable level of probability.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I mean, look who saved those kids.
How many kids are we willing to lose to find that out?
Okay, good question. None. Because even the one is important.
Correct.
But then you can always flip it back. How many kids are we willing to lose if we don't find it out? I mean, but that's why I think that the process needs to be strict. It needs to be hard. It needs to be hard to get in this thing.
So, okay. Are we going to pay those individuals more than we'll pay the regular teachers? Teachers that have that extra.
They need to get a bonus. They need to get a bonus. Yes, they need to get a bonus.
So we're going to add financial incentive.
Yep. They need to have a bonus.
Do you think that will make people who really aren't qualified try to do it just to get the bonus?
Yes. But they get weeded out through the process.
So you're hoping to make the process stringent enough where they would weed I'm just doing it for the money people out.
Yep. And this is how I would do it. First, it needs to be the administrator recommendation. Okay. That need to come first. And they get to recommend so many people. Then they go through the background checks, all of that. The same thing campus police would have to do, they have to go through.
Right.
Then they have to go through the same training campus police go through. And you're going to pay them. You pay them. You give them $5,000 a year or something like that. You know, just increase their pay, let it run. And they had the option to renew it every year. If they don't want to do it next year, then they ain't got to do it. And you may end up with no people there. But if you have no people, okay, so be it.
Right. I'm going to go and say I think the route is better technology, better security technology at the school. I don't think we need to add more guns and more people to the situation. Do I agree with the resource officer? at every school? Yes.
Yep.
Should be a resource officer at every school. And I think the training for the resource officer right now is currently basically keeping the kids safe from one another and keeping the teachers safe from the kids. And I think more of the focus of the resource officer training is going to be securing the school in case of emergency. They need to get more training in that aspect.
Which I will say, we do active shooter drills and practice all the time.
I know a lot of schools do.
And in this case, I don't even know if they had a school resource officer. So if none was even there,
I don't think they did.
That's null and void. Because it's elementary school, you don't get that. You really don't.
I feel like they need to add that to all schools.
And the technology part. Now I will say this: the way the schools are built, it's hard to get in.
Yeah.
Like my school, once the door is shut, if you don't have that that card to unlock the door, you got to ring the bell. You show up on camera. The person see you and talk to you through a speaker, and then they decide if they want to buzz you in. Once they buzz you in the vestibule, and all the doors there are locked. You still can't do nothing. Like, it's shut down.
Yeah.
So that's how our schools are here, but not to say every school is like that, but that's how ours are.
I think that's more of a go towards that route with, making the access a little bit harder and, things like that. But like you said, what can you do about user error when somebody didn't close the door all the way or something? Exactly.
But again, I know I was saying about arming teachers, but I still don't believe teachers should have that. But it is a possible thing. But a lot of teachers ain't stable, man. They ain't got it.
Well, this is one of these debates that's going to be constant, ongoing. I do think changes have to be made. I'm not high enough up the food chain to make any of these decisions. But I tell you what, when they come out and they are on the ballot, please, people, go out and vote and be decisive in the lives of your children. This will be something that's going to be on the municipal and the local and the down ballots to try to get snuck in. So people, get out there and be active about what's going on in your individual communities. This is midterm elections coming up. Somebody's going to try to make some headway by saying this law or that law between now and then, and hope that's something that gets them a lot of votes. So be aware of what's going on in your individual community so your children are taken care of in the way you all agree on. We got to get active. We got to get active.
All right, that's our time on that one, man. I set the time of the day. We trying something different. So, all right, how can we help our community? Like you said, be active in the voting process, teach kids, do all that stuff. Yeah. There you go. All right, man.
We should probably bring somebody on talk about voting and stuff on just the book. Man, I know there's a lot of brothers not active enough in the voting game. Yeah,
let's see if we can set that up. Let's see who we got that can willing. I'll throw something up in the group and see if somebody willing to come on and speak about it, and we can go from there.
I might have somebody that was a former politician that might have something to say. Somebody that ran for office.
Oh, definitely, man. Get them. I think I know who you're talking about. Get them.
I got a couple of people that I know that I could get them. They come in. They got some things to say about the political process.
Yeah, it's that time of year, man. So I think we could do that.
Yep.
All right, man. You ready for number 2?
Number 2. Let's go.
Bruh. This one.
Yeah.
Man, all right. You know what? Here's the best way to learn how to swim is just jump in there.
Yeah, you gotta get on in that. Gotta get what? Oh, all right.
This
is a lot to unpack.
Yeah, B. Simone, and they.
First off, right. It's a horrible podcast. I gotta say that, but I'm not the audience. I recognize that.
Oh,
B. Simone, don't be mad at me. I'm not your audience.
Look. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, bro. That lady is delusional.
Yeah, not B. Simone. I ain't talking about B. Simone. Her little homegirl, the other host, bro. Oh, she's trash.
Both of them. And the reason why I say that, because she was saying some stuff before about and everybody treated their opinion about who they date, who they want to be with. But she was just down in regular men. Yeah. Regular men who not entrepreneurs and hustlers, that we nothing. So yeah, I ain't with her. But the podcast itself, and I read the comments.
Yeah.
And what it looked like to me is the same thing you see on social media when any lady posts a selfie of themselves. Oh, you go queen. This good. You know, it was a lot.
Yeah.
All the comments was that. But getting to the meat of it, man, I followed your advice because you said, man, I'm gonna listen to the whole thing. And I was like, I don't even want to listen to it. But I did.
I'm almost mad I gave you that advice because I had to listen to it too.
Look, at the end of my time, I'm gonna try to do some good deeds and ask God if He can give me some credit. I need to get some credit. Lord, please.
Again,
let me get another 2 hours.
Hold on. First off, again, ladies, I don't mean to talk bad about your show. I realize 40-year-old family black men are not the target audience of your program.
No,
I don't know.
It's not.
It is.
It's not.
We realize we are not the target audience of that program. We're not supposed to find it exciting. It's meant for a different crowd. But because it was in the public eye, I never would have even known she had a podcast if not for this. So for publicity purposes, I'm sure this has been a boom for her. And get your money, people. Money.
Now this is, so we're gonna get to the meat of it, man, because they kept saying how she's an entrepreneur and she focused on all these things and this and that. And I think what she said it just so they can get traction in the public eye. That to me. And honestly, as much as I talk trash about it just now, she is not guilty of what people say she's guilty of in this respect.
She's not. B. Simone is not guilty of really going hard and disparaging MLK the way they're making it out.
Nope, she not.
First off, she never actually said his name.
No, the other lady did. Her friend. That's her friend and her assistant. Right,
but B. Simone never actually said MLK's name. She really took it and said, "Can a man?" She really flipped it and said, "Can a man be a great man and have other inconsistencies in his life?"
Yes.
You know, and can you be a great man in business, but you a poor father? Can you be a great man in your athletics and be a bad husband? Can you be a great, can you take the good with the bad and still be a good or a great man?
Right. Go ahead, man, because I got some stuff to say about that.
No, I say yes, but go ahead.
Okay. Now, the whole topic was perception versus reality, which, okay, I'm with that, what they was talking about. But to answer that question, can you be a good man and just be bad at other stuff? The problem I'm seeing is that men have to be perfect. We have to be perfect at every way, at every single thing. And even, I'm gonna go here because this affects me directly.
Perfect, or do black men have to be perfect?
I don't know. Because I can't say what happens, to our white brothers. I don't know.
I'm gonna say this. It does seem whatever you do as a black man, I give you Kevin Samuels as an example. How he gonna talk about relationships? He ain't married.
Yeah. But then he married. So how he gonna talk about relationships?
How you gonna talk about single people? How you gonna talk about dating? He married. So it seems like it's always a catch.
Moving the goalposts is what they call it.
Right. So I stand by a phrase I said a while ago. And I stand by because I'm continuing to see more and more evidence of the truth in it, which is a man, especially a black man, doesn't have to be wrong. He doesn't have to be right or wrong. All he has to do is disagree with the feelings, not even the facts.
Yeah.
The feelings. All he has to do is do something a black woman doesn't like to be a villain.
Exactly. You know what? I'll say this, man. So this is the point I was gonna get to, and then I'm gonna push it to another direction. When somebody says there's in the church, and this affects me directly,
right?
I am expected to be perfect. I am.
Well, you remember the clergy.
Exactly. So if I'm up here, if I cuss one time,
somebody gonna say something.
Everything that I said is bad. Is they throw it all out. And see, this is the thing that they did with MLK in this podcast. So to that, I say this, and this is a bigger lesson for everybody. I always use the analogy of the envelope. If you went to the mailbox and there was an envelope in there, and it was kind of singed on the side, had these greasy fingerprints all on it, it was crumpled up and torn a little bit, all of that, would you throw it away? Most people would just throw the whole thing away, not knowing that it was $1 million check on the inside.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that it's not the envelope, but it's the message inside the envelope. I am the envelope. I could be dirty, scarred, torn, but what I'm saying and what I'm doing is the message.
Right.
So you are going to disregard something that you know is sound because of who delivered the message.
Right. Okay, well let's keep it there. Let's keep it in this analogy of, is the packaging and the way it makes you feel more important than the truth?
And that's what these ladies was talking about.
Right.
So
does knowing, even though we don't know for sure, but does knowing a man was inadequate in another aspect of his life change your perception of whatever it is he did? For example, I'll give you one for my own personal self, and some folks might not like what I'm about to say.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I was a fan of a comedian named Gerard Carmichael.
Okay. I remember him.
Yeah. He had a little show out for a minute called The Carmichael Show.
Yep.
He recently did a new stand-up on HBO. In his stand-up, he came out as a homosexual.
Okay.
It has changed my perception of him.
Okay.
So in that light, yes, when you find out new details about a person, it changes your perception of them.
I think what's important, and this is something I don't think we do enough of. We need to learn how to recognize our own bias, and we have to make steps to mitigate that.
Right.
And that's a part of the research process. When you're doing a academic study, they make you write what your biases are, and how do you plan on mitigating or reducing the bias in your results. And we have to do that in our life. So, for example, with the comedian that you like, because before he said something, he still was funny.
Right.
He still was funny, and I guarantee he probably still was funny now.
He still was funny. But then I look back at some of the jokes. I'm like, oh, you never really lived that. You just made that up because you was talking about your interaction with a woman. You wasn't really involved in that interaction with a woman because you ain't never liked her from the jump.
But who's to say that during that time he wasn't with a woman? What if that was something he just found out 2 weeks ago?
Like I said, it changes my perception because it's like, at what point were you living a lie? Okay.
Now, well then,
same time. Same time. You tell me, XYZ man was a womanizer. Let's say Dr. King was a womanizer. We don't have no real evidence of that. We just got something the FBI told us. And the FBI at that time, we talk about black people, I got zero reliability.
They were scared that he was going to align with the communists and that all us would become communists and we would tear the country down.
Right. So,
but anyway.
So, if you come to me and you tell me, oh, XYZ man, he did a lot of stuff, but he cheated on his wife.
It don't have nothing to do with his work.
Right.
It's not connected. Okay. Now I can probably say that. Nothing to really do with his work. And that's kind of what I experienced, being in the ministry.
But I get where they're coming from with it because, MLK is Dr. Martin Luther King. He was a pastor. He was a reverend. He was a member of the clergy. Just like, I do believe we hold clergy to a higher standard than anybody else. So now, Joe Schmo, you and I, not so much.
But then
But
here's
you
the
know
other
it's
thing
so
about it.
different. But me, not so much. Somebody find out I'm doing some dirty. Do it really matter? I never said I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But by being a member of the clergy, you kind of saying you're not.
There is a I don't want to say people don't understand. They don't understand. To even in the biblical sense, one of God's favorite people, his favorite people, is documented in the book. He was an adulterer, a murderer. I mean, he did all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was King David. King David even was like, he had like buddy wife. It was like, man, look, I got to have her. So this is what we going to do. Send him off the one, put him on the front.
Bathsheba?
Yes. Yeah. Put him on the front line. But what I'm getting to is this. It's more, what people don't understand is that people are people.
Right.
People are people. Even pastors are people. Now, and I'm saying this from experience. When you get up there and deliver that message, somebody who got that real connection, bruh, when I get up there and talk, it's like I'm watching myself talk, like I'm talking to me. Because it's not coming from me. I'm serious, man. It's like no matter what I write out, it's brand new to me. So what I'm getting to is that if you believe and if you're in that realm that people are people and that this stuff comes from God, then it's a time when you move aside and, God speak through you.
Right.
So do you degrade the message because you're human?
Again, I think when a man stands up in front of people and says, for example, I am a Christian and I'm going to lead this flock in the way of Christianity, then if there is more responsibility upon him to live a life that's considered a Christian life.
And it is. Right.
Now, if this man has done this for 50 years or however long,
right.
And in that time he's saved people, helped men be better men, helped women be better women, maybe got people out of the street life. He's done all these great things. And then we find out amongst that, along that way, he got an outside child.
Right.
All those people that he's helped don't all of a sudden go back to not being helped.
Exactly.
So it can't, it can't possibly kill everything a person's done. It can't supersede all the good they've done. If that's the case, then none of us ever did anything good because we all got some bullshit in our past.
Exactly. So
we all got something, a prejudice, a bad relationship, a bad night, a bad decision.
But you know what? In this podcast that they did, I mean, I think the other girl, they talked about stuff beforehand. Right. And I think that's what they wanted to do. Like not specifically go after him, but they wanted to use him as an avatar.
Right.
For everybody else.
Correct.
Because she said it. How can you be so great of a man if you don't respect me, the child's mother, because I gave birth to the child?
Right. She said, how can you be a great father if you don't respect me, the child's mother? I don't think those things need each other to exist at all. However, that's only viable at all if it goes both ways. It's only viable at all. I don't think it's viable, period. But it's only viable at all if it goes both ways.
Man, but here's the thing I have learned over the years. The definition of respect means two different things to men and women.
Yep.
They mean two totally different things. And I think this is that.
From person to person.
Yeah. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, yes.
And
in
also,
this case,
how much value a person placed on quote unquote respect. All of that varies.
Because I'm gonna tell you, man, to some people, even the women I spoke to, when they think of respect, to them it's just don't call me out my name.
Right.
Calling me out my name and treat me like a princess. That's how you respect people. But to us, respect is different.
Right.
You know, you can be disrespectful in your behavior.
Yep.
And they can do a lot of messed up stuff and say, I'm not disrespecting you. But you are.
It is all, like I said, it all comes down to back to this perception versus reality.
Yeah.
Because you can make a movement or make a decision and feel like you didn't disrespect anybody, but that doesn't mean that person didn't perceive it as disrespectful. That's why I say it can't possibly be, that can't be the standard to determine whether or not a person is a good father or a good mother, is whether or not they have the respect of somebody else.
I say separate the deeds from the person.
Right. Well, listen.
Separate the deeds from the
person. Does it matter if the daddy's a womanizer, if the kids love their daddy?
And he taking care of them, he teaching them and doing all that other stuff?
Does it matter if he's a womanizer? Does it matter if the mom's a prostitute if the kids got everything they're supposed to have?
But I mean, you know what? Let's look at this another way, man. And this is the thing that really get under my skin. You know, I'm really trying to champion for our boys. And the mothers who hate men that have boys.
Right.
I heard a story. T.S. Johnson had a show where the men was talking about that. And the man said that he was put out the house when he was 16. Because, you know, his mother turned into a second wave feminist or something like that. And she told him, I hate men, but you just my son. And when he turned into a man, she put him out on his own. He was homeless at the age of 16.
Wow.
Do that make her a bad mother because she hates men? And she said that she hates men.
Well, I think if you hate men and you have a son, it's impossible for you to be a good mother. Because if you hate somebody, you're not going to give them the love they need to be, a viable human being.
Honestly, I don't even think a lot of them realize that they do hate men. Just like a lot of men don't realize that they hate women. They don't even know they're doing it at all. And the question is, once they discover their ways that were wrong, will they change it? Or will they double down on it?
Unfortunately, I think most people double down.
Nobody can say I was wrong.
Yeah. I think most people double down. Most people decide, hey, this is who I am, what I believe in, and I'll take the consequences of that rather than open my mind up to being able to be, available. You know what? It's the change.
Oh, man, two things. One, so B. Simone said, I don't know if it was in this part. No, it was in a different one when I was trying to look up what she was talking about. And she said, if you are offended, you need to check yourself and do some internal healing if you are offended by what I say. Yeah. Man, look, I had to take a step back on that one.
Okay. First off, if you are offended by a fact, you need to do some internal healing. If it's a fact and you're still offended by it, then, you need to do some internal healing and figure out how you view the world and reality and perception, your perception versus reality. She's right on that case. If you're offended by something I say and it's a fact, if you're offended by, a fact that.
All right, man. But you know what? You know what she was talking about because this was posted right after that show. If you was offended by what she said and how they made it look to say she was talking about MLK, because they put that in the description.
Right.
So that's what she was talking about. I mean, now I'm connecting the dots. She didn't say that directly. I'm connecting the dots.
Right.
Because based on the timing of the statement and what happened.
Well, and she's right. Because again, she didn't say anything directly about MLK. She changed it to general man. Just random man. And she basically said, I have a hard time saying a man is a great man or a good father or a good husband or a good man if he also cheats on his wife and or whatever. That's a hard hurdle for her to get over. And I think that's a case. That's probably the case for a lot of women.
So if you disagree with what she's saying, is something wrong with you. Because that's what I'm hearing. It's like I'm right.
I'm not taking it that way.
Okay.
I'm taking her saying if you get offended by it, meaning if you don't think I have the right to say it, something's wrong with you. Because she has the right to say it. She got a right to say it. The way she phrased it, like again, I think she could have done a lot better job, saying it more eloquently and maybe having she needed a couple more tools in her toolbox to express herself fully, but she has a right.
They did that job on purpose. They did it on purpose. They're getting some good traction. Because even in the podcast, they were saying, yeah, after we started this podcast, I was getting texts from people want us to come on the show and we do this and that. I mean, they was leaning hard on that for maybe about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Beside the manifest, oh shoot, I ain't gonna go there because I got a whole bunch to say about that. But I'm gonna zip my lips up because they're gonna be here another hour.
And I just feel like overall, this was two young women on a podcast, and they wanted to make it seem like girl talk conversation. And I think there's probably a fair percentage of women that feel like if a man is a cheater, he's not a good man, period. Because their feelings are more important than
reality.
The reality. And that the fact that he would hurt a woman's feelings limits how good a man he could be.
Okay. Yeah, because it's so many other avenues I want to take this thing into, but I know our time getting short on that one, man. But
that's just my opinion on the matter. Again, I feel like people are unjustly jumping down her throat.
I agree.
For what she said. But I think she very much has a right to say what she said. I think she did not have the necessary, she couldn't say what she really was she couldn't accurately break down what she was trying to say. But it's an interesting question, man. At what point do your misdeeds outweigh your good deeds?
Yeah, exactly.
If he cheat on his wife and beat on his wife, can he be a good man? Like how much stuff? How great R. Kelly? R. Kelly's a great entertainer, one of the best singers, and all of that, right? But he slept with little girls. Doesn't that supersede it?
You know what? To that, I say this though. You like him because of his singing.
Right.
You ain't like him because of who he was.
Right.
That's why people still listening to his music.
But now that you have that new information, are you willing? Does that new information change your perception of who he is?
Man, that ain't new.
Everybody knew he was trying to get with songs. Some of these songs I'm listening to and enjoying. He was really singing some of these songs about some little girls.
Now that's true. I'll give you that one. I will give you that one because there's a lot of stuff I didn't shut down, and I done shut down a lot of stuff based on viewpoints and stuff like that.
Now, do I think just cheating is enough? No, but if you was also a cheater and a woman beater and a murderer, I might not care that you cured cancer.
But if you get cancer, you gonna care.
I'm just saying, let's say there's a doctor, this great doctor, male or female, cures cancer. But then we later found out they were a murderer and they did experiments they weren't supposed to do. They abused people, they abused patients, they abused their family, all of that. We found all this dirt out about them later. What I believe that one deed is still great, but they are no longer a great person. And I think that's what she was trying to say. He might have did a great deed, or a man or woman may still have done a great deed, but I no longer view them as a great person.
For me, what I teach at the church, and this helps me. It helps me get around people that's doing bad things. You love the person,
right?
But you dislike what they do.
Correct.
And by adapting that philosophy, it enables you to see people as people.
Okay.
It enables you to have compassion for someone, because in the church, that's what God had for us. Compassion. Because I mean, we do dirt all the time. We expect to get compassion, but we don't want to give it.
Okay, well then I'm going to push back and say this.
All right, let's go.
Before this, and what I'm about to say is before religion.
Yeah.
Aristotle said we are what we repeatedly do.
Okay.
Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So the flip side of that is, if excellence is something that we do all the time, if we do bad stuff all the time, isn't that also us? If we are what we repeatedly do, if we consistently fucking up, aren't you a fuck up?
But see, then that's saying that that's ingrained in you. Is no room for redemption. Everybody has redemption.
That doesn't. You could have, for a period in your life, been a fuck up, or been a sinner or a criminal or whatever, and then you're no longer one. But if there's a demarcation line, that's one thing. But if you're trying to do both at the same time, if you're currently a pastor but also a fornicator,
right?
At the same time, does the fornication not detract from your pastor?
You can't. I don't think you can give good advice on that. You can't give advice on that, but the other parts you can. But what I'm saying though is this: to separate the actions from the person. So, for example, if someone comes up to you and say, "I'm hungry,
right?
I need something to eat," and you know they've been doing dirt stuff out there,
right?
But the expectation is, as a Christian, we're going to help him. We're going to feed him. Even though you hate his guts, but you still going to feed him because you love the person but hate what they do. Because if that was the case, then we would just pretty much hate everybody. And that only certain people are worthy of being viewed in a positive light.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that taking that stance allows you to see people for people. And I'm not saying give them a pass for their actions. Not at all. They still responsible for that. But what I am saying is you still love the person. And by love, I don't mean that you kiss their behind. I don't even believe that you give them gifts and do all kind of stuff. But you look at them in a different way. You know, it's like, okay, this is a big mistake. They're making big mistakes.
Yeah.
But once they redeem themselves from those mistakes, hey, I'm here. I'm open. I'm not going to support what you're doing, but I'm here. That's what enables us to help them people.
Correct. But again, you're still asking that person to make a change. You're asking that person to say, hey, I'm gonna stop being this and start moving towards being that. Now there may be a time where they overlap a little, but the expectation is they're gonna go from one lifestyle to another lifestyle.
Well,
I think that's fine. I think we can say up until 2020 we lived a certain way, and since 2020 and the pandemic, we now live a different way. And are we still gonna hold a person to all the things they did before 2020 when they've been a totally different person since then?
Right.
I don't think I think that's different. It's like Malcolm X. We all know all the stuff Malcolm X did before he became Malcolm X.
Right.
And we say, oh, he was that guy, he became a different guy and became a great man. I think that's one thing. I think we all as people can accept that archetype or that model.
Right.
Our issue comes when we believe a person is one thing for an extended period of time.
Right.
And then we find out that whole time was going on, they were really somebody else. And during that time, the two things they were presenting were opposing.
Right.
How do we then perceive that person after that? And is the reality of that situation, is that person a liar?
Right.
Is that person false? Can that person still have been good and all the good things they did still hold the same weight once we find out, oh, he gave money to the church, but it was dope money.
Right.
Is the money still good? Church can still spend it, It can still help somebody, but it was dope money. Is the church wrong for using dope money?
I mean, hey.
Or is it more important that we save Sister Loretta's house?
Exactly. It
was dope money, but Sister Loretta still got a house.
Because I think that we have a way of taking things that's bad and transforming them into good. For example,
that's the entire basis of Christianity.
Yeah. Because I mean, even with antidote for snake venom.
Right.
Some rattlesnake venom use venom to make the antidote. You took something bad and turned it into something good.
Right.
But to that, man, I'll say this, man. I think the perception, it depends on the way the people are. Some people see the surface, and perception is everything to them. Right. Just like we talked about in the book study, you know, that's why people put, you know, they talk about what they've done instead of the product. Or, you know, people that wear, they like when they wear Gucci belts or LV belts or whatever, and they tuck the front part of their shirt in and had the rest out so you can see the belt.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing. You know, they want that perception of being that. But the dude that's sitting in the 7 Series I ain't never saw before, he don't do that because it's just a belt.
Right.
So I think perception and reality is a big thing.
Power perceived is power achieved. If you believe I'm powerful, then to you, I am.
Yeah. That's true.
I think anybody, especially anybody in the public eye, has to constantly, back to what we did in 40 Laws of Power, protect your reputation at all costs.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's why, I mean, I know I got to do it.
Yeah. So I want to just reiterate, I'm not mad at B. Simone. People are really not listening to what she really said. They're not.
I agree.
They're taking it not out of context as so much of they're putting words in their mouth. Really,
they're making a connection it's not connected.
Right.
But they put that out there that she said it, but she didn't. But they giving her credit for they doing it. She did it.
Right. Well, that's because it's getting big traction. Mm-hmm. It's getting big traction. There's a lot of people commenting on it. You damn near got to look for the original podcast for all the reaction videos to it.
Bro, it took me an hour to find that thing.
just to get away from all the reaction videos to the mug. So it's wild. But we talking about who we talking about? We talking about B. Simone.
Yeah.
She's a comedic actress and
she said she's a CEO and an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Boss chick. All right, got you.
We can talk. Now we're gonna talk about that right now. You know what, man? Let's get to some positive stuff, man.
All right, let's go.
All right, last segment, man, because I know we got stuff to do today, and we got to see about our families. All right, let me see which one. Oh, this one. I guess we can go here. Definitely see if I can get this lined up here. So we can do that one, man.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So basically, we posted this in the group. I posted this in the group, and man, this brother here, that thing had me feeling great about myself. It did. I had to share this thing because it hit hard. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it, man, and we'll talk about it briefly. Let me know if you can't hear it.
Brothers, listen up.
To my brothers, my kings, I need you to hear this. Just speaking to men specifically. Just because a lot of things that are being said negatively about men, it does not mean that's you. You're a better man than most people give you credit for, so stand on it. Being a man is about taking care of responsibility, something you've been doing your whole life, so stand on it. Just because someone doesn't give you credit doesn't mean you haven't done it. You stand your ground and let them talk. Don't be distracted. I say this to you all the time. Don't ever live your life within the context of someone else's opinion of you. So many people say that there are no good men. Let them talk. Don't let that distract you. Keep moving. I'm proud of you, brother, because you're doing what you're supposed to do. If someone said that you're no good, that's their opinion. That don't make it true. So continue looking forward. Keep God first and know your assignment. For what it's worth, I honor you, my brother, because you're a good man. I love you. Believe that.
Man.
Well, I mean, you know my opinion. We as black men got some of the worst PR in the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
That's true.
That's why I'm beginning to love YouTube and other social media outlets, because it actually gives us opportunity to control our image.
And there's so many men out there that is coming up with stuff.
Right.
You know, and this is what you get. Like, man, this did me, even listening to this again, it's a couple things that stood out to me and that just energized me.
Yep.
He said, just stand on it. That's what we do, man.
Yeah. That's something I've been doing a lot more of. Like, no, I'm right. Sometimes you're just right. And you gotta just stand on it. You know what? I'm right. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But I'm right. I know I'm right. Like we too often let a person's over talk and emotional outbursts or whatever. All right, well, you know, whatever, I ain't about it. Nah. If you're right, you're right. Stand in your right. It's okay. But
stand on who you are.
Right.
And there's so many times we let a lot of stuff slide.
Yes, too much.
We let a lot of stuff slide on purpose. I mean, I'm guilty of it, just like everybody else. And that's why, you know, I'm going to do more, because our boys need it. I need it.
Yep.
You know, and he said, what I'm getting from this, regardless of what anybody say, you stand on who you are, because they're going to be out there to push you down. They're going to be out there to make sure you are crippled under the guilt of being who you are. And he was like, nah, stand on that. You got to, man.
That's the world will have you thinking being a man is just wrong from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
The world will have you thinking that if you aren't making a couple $100,000 a year and balling out of control, you less of a man.
Yeah.
The world will have you thinking, you know, if you don't make this amount of money, you don't look like this, you ain't over 6 feet tall, no woman's going to be interested in you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people fall into believing all those things. And it's simply not true.
No, none of it's true, man. I mean,
it's plenty of good brothers. Plenty of good
more
brothers.
than a little bit.
Yeah. Plenty of good brothers. Plenty of men doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing in life, making good decisions, taking care of their families. And, you know, we're never going to get the credit we think we deserve. But like he said, just because you didn't get credit for it, doesn't mean you didn't do it.
I mean, you didn't do it. Man, this thing was powerful for me, man. It was very powerful. And I think for men, and I don't know about you, but it does something to me when somebody say, you know what, you did a good job.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job. I don't need people to tell me I'm a king. I don't need none of that. Just, you know what, you're doing a good job.
Yep.
That's it. If most men hear that make you want to go out and keep doing what you're doing.
Yep. It's amazing the number of relationships that can still be going and can so easily be saved if people be more willing to give out just a little bit of respect, appreciation, and praise. I call it rap.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, it look like we're gonna have to talk about that one. Well, I don't know. You have to make some content for that, man. We can get in it.
Yeah, I mean, if you can do that as a woman, if you can show a man, if you can do it, if you can rap to a man, give him respect, admiration, and praise.
Right.
That man try to change the world for you. He gonna try to get everything you ever asked for and more.
Man, but you know, for me, again, you know, my focus is a little bit different, man. It's just these boys. That's something that boys need.
Yeah.
They don't function. The same things that motivate girls don't do that to boys.
No.
When you keep calling a boy a king all the time, but give him no substance to go with it, it doesn't work. They want to hear you doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Keep doing the right thing. And I'll tell anybody that got something to say
you
about
a king
that.
Because if I'm a king, why am I a king?
Exactly.
How did I become a king? You can't just say king. You got to tell them why. So if you don't have a why, don't say it. Just tell them you're doing a good job.
Man, That's just a title. Now, I have my own feelings about that. I never call myself a king like that. No.
Well, a king is a title, and every title comes with a job description. So unless you're doing that job description,
that's just me.
It doesn't mean anything.
That's just me. I mean, everybody can call themselves what they want. I just don't do that.
I agree with you. I'm saying, does it mean anything?
Right.
A king is a title, and every title comes with a job description. So make that title mean something. If it doesn't mean anything, then you don't get to say it.
That's right.
It's just I'm a queen. I'm a queen. No, baby girl, but you can be a good person. All you define it. Why? It's okay, but you don't have to be a queen to be a good person.
Exactly.
You don't have to be a king to be a good person. Being a good person is more than enough. That's a lot.
Especially these days, man. It's rough out there.
Be a good person. Take care of your family. It's like we somehow went from we made this jump from teaching people how to be good people to everybody got to be a multimillionaire to be somebody.
Yeah, or a boss. Everybody got to be a boss, an entrepreneur, all of this stuff. And man, I'm telling you, people don't know what they're asking for.
Listen, first off, if it's in you, go get your money, male, female, whatever. But that does not make you any more or less than somebody that's going to 95 and taking care of their job, taking care of their kids and their family. Now, if you're going to a 9 to 5 every day and you're not taking care of your family, you need a different job. You find some more skills or something. But doesn't make you less than quote unquote the boss chick or the boss man or whatever like that. It's just not like that, man. We gotta give each other some grace and some love.
Exactly, man. We got to, man, and I think that's what's missing a lot. And that's why I try to give out as much as I can. You never know how much one word or one thing can change. What if one thing you said to somebody can change the trajectory of their whole life?
It definitely can. It definitely can.
One.
But listen, I'm gonna close with this.
That's
Black men, take time to support one another, because it's not going to come from anywhere else until we do it.
Yeah, and by support, I'm gonna throw in on this one support. Don't just pass it by. Even if we doing something on social media, whatever, just say, hey man, you're doing a good job. Throw them a like. When you see them, hey man, keep it up, and just keep it moving. It even take just a little bit.
So in that regard, and then to the world, man, look, this book of man, we ain't going nowhere. We're gonna be consistent. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend. We love you. We out.
Later.